Hey everyone. Today we are at the San Agustin archaeological site in the Amazon of Colombia. This site is fascinating because it's considered to be the largest statuary of pre-Columbian America. For those wondering what a statuary is, it's more or less a collection or perhaps a library of statues. Over 600 statues were found here, carved between 100 and 800 AD by a culture known locally as the Pueblo Escultar. We're going to explore the site with a local guide named Marta, who, along with her husband, has dedicated a chunk of her life to learning as much as she can about the statues here, decoding them, and sharing her knowledge.
We found
So let's dive in.
a couple of statues here in this area. The statues are inside, and the statues from here. You know, there's been a lot of movement on the statues. And
How many statues have they found in total?
good question, because the way that they found the statues were found mostly by tomb robbers, by people that go and rob the stuff, trying to find gold. All the statues what we're gonna see here are original, so you're not gonna see any replics. They're
Incredible.
probably not in their original
place. Okay.
but they're all original.
They are original.
These guys with the hands like this, they all belong to the Mesita B, one of the most prolific areas. So,
And do you know what the different hand positions mean? It seems like they're communicating something
yeah, totally.
through the hand positions.
Yeah, there are many hands positions. We're gonna tackle it.
Right off the bat, we come to this statue of a bird with a serpent in its mouth, and I was beyond excited to see this because this is a pretty clear symbol from Mesoamerica. Of course, Quetzalcoatl is known as the feathered serpent, again, bird and snake imagery. But then also the origin story for the Mexica or Aztec people is that they were essentially wandering through Mexico until they saw the sign of a bird with a serpent in its mouth, in its beak, and that was where the Mexica or Aztec people were to found their new homeland, which ultimately would become Tenochtitlan, which is today Mexico City. But the symbol with a feathered serpent, a bird and a serpent, a bird with a serpent in its mouth, this is a very ancient Mesoamerican symbol that seems to always go back to the origins of the people themselves. In fact, this symbol is even found today on the Mexican flag. You see a bird with a serpent in its mouth, even clutching the serpent with its talons, just like the statue we just saw.
And you know, it's really hard to try to imagine what's the symbology and the meaning of all these things that they're expressing in the statues. Some of them are like this, some of them are like this, some of them are like this. You know, there is a language, without doubt, and it's a communication. It's a stone library, and each one of these are a text. The problem with this text is that really we lost the dictionary. It's a big gap of time between the time that these people stopped making statues and the arrival of the conquistadors. It's a big gap of time. So we don't
it's
have
been
a
lost.
lot of elements.
Yeah.
But we do
just have
some.
fragments, yeah.
We have fragments of that dictionary, but we do have some. And it's more related with the other cultures in America, right? Because they were all really connected somehow with this culture. This culture located in Mesoamerica, in the middle of these main mother cultures in Mexico and Peru. And here in the middle is Colombia with this Mesoamerican new and mix of these two cultures. And this is what we're going to see in our tour. The mix of the Olmec culture, Toltec cultures from Mexico, and also from Chavin, the Guantar in Peru, all these cultures that come with elements to hear Pueblo's culture.
Okay,
Really, very interesting, yeah. Some of the stones had a functional work, like this one that is kind of skinny and long. It probably had an architectural function. So probably was one of the sides of the underground space or the top of a sarcophagus or underground space. Symbols, more symbols, headpieces, hands carrying something, eyes in a very different way. You see all kind of eyes, very alive eyes, very pumping eyes. Or this case, it's like closed eyes. Some people see in this art, this particular art, like modern art. It looks more like modern art.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could be making this in a Berlin setting or something like that. Fans too.
Yeah, they
Fans.
all have fangs.
Not all of them, but many of them. It's not easy to imagine that this is the reflection of a human, right? No human has a head like this. Where a head is like 40% of the body. Most
Yeah,
of the
right.
statues here, the head is very big.
They're artistic.
Yeah.
Now, that's an interesting posture with the hands sort of around the navel, but then a little baby.
Carrying little figures in their hands, that's another.
So you don't think it's human, the baby,
Could be
because of the horns?
what I thinking more is not exactly maternal, like little mommy holding the little children, right?
Hmm.
It's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
This figure, it has way more meaning than a maternal, a mom with her child,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's more than that. It's probably a figure of sacrifice or offering. Yeah, these guys holding their hands like this, holding like that. They had actually an architectural work function in their original situation. They were all in this mesita and they were all around. There were 33 of those holding their
Wow.
hands like this or like this.
33 holding there.
Holding
Left
like
arm.
a little huge mound.
Yeah.
Like they were the base
Uh-huh.
that hold all this, the ground around to make a mound.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing is that 10% of these 33 are holding the left hand
Uh-huh.
and 90% the right hands,
Really?
which is very close to the number of lefty people
Yeah. Huh.
that are in human.
Interesting.
Could be just by chance.
Yeah.
But could be not. This is a school. This is a female
Oh,
statue.
really?
And this headpiece is very related with female statues. Female statues were very present in this Pueblo sculptor people. But it's
Okay.
pretty eroded and it's hard to tell what's holding in their hands, maybe nothing. Normally female statues don't carry anything in their hands except cups.
Hmm.
Powerful statue.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful statues. This tumi shape. Tumi is a ceremonial knife.
Mm-hmm.
It goes like, it's round. It's like this, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have the concept of these knives and you use it like that
Uh-huh.
in a bowl.
Yeah.
Those are ceremonial knives and they're called tumis. This could be a tumi knife or it could be a mushroom head.
Uh-huh.
But the interesting thing of this statue is carrying two steps. Carrying two steps is what the main figure in La Puerta del Sol, the stone gate in Tiwanaku,
Mm-hmm.
is carrying.
Mm.
He is an mix of a bird and something else. So what is this heart-shaped
Yeah.
symbol? Well, thinking about Tiwanaku and the relationship with birds and this symbol with carrying two stones and a bird,
Mm-hmm.
we can imagine that this is the back of the bird, where that's the head,
Uh-huh.
this is the body, and these are the
Wings.
Static movement, where the wings are moving like this, right? And the way to represent a static movement at that time was used to do this. Listen, this is just an interpretation. I
So-
can tell you, but
Maybe a birdman,
maybe a bird.
which is also a shaman, right? The birdman is a shaman, a shamanic trance state almost, where they fly to other realms.
We are sure that happened here. It was the use of psychotropic plants.
Yeah, it's
Why? Because they were masters of the nature, and in the nature include these plants. Then when you take it, it'll take you to another world. Anybody who has taken these psychedelic plants know that it's a new experience where you go and reach other levels. So this guy made me think about that, because he is something is coming out from his mouth, and that thing becomes a head, a face. This is also language. We keep seeing this. Many of the statues are kind of throwing up, or something is coming out from their mouth. Well, when you drink the ayahuasca and you throw up, that's the moment where it happens, when you go to this other level and you start seeing or reaching these new stages. So this guy made me think about that, and made me think about the use of these plants and the power that the shamans had when they're using these plants, right? How they bring these images and this information from the other world to apply in their community, in their little spaces, and help their people. Control the weather too.
Yeah.
The statues, have been out of the earth for many centuries, couple of centuries or more. So the features are eroding. And now it's really hard to tell what exactly they're holding in their hands. But look at the face. They had pumpy cheeks. That it could be related with coca chewing.
Oh, interesting.
Because coca chewing was for sure something that they did here. I'm 100% positive.
Right.
Because the statue shows.
Yeah.
They show us how they had the coca in their cheeks, had the elements on their hands, which the elements are the coca leaves and the lime that they mix together to make the coca. They're functional rock, functional stone. It's functional because it's very skinny. It looks more like it's gonna be used for something, used for a cover of the underground space or a sarcophagus. See, they're different. Some of the people that believe in UFOs and forces out of the sky believe that these are these influences.
Oh, interesting.
We don't believe
no,
so.
Yeah.
I don't believe so, because we believe in the power of these indigenous people.
Yeah.
They were organized. They were here for 1,000 years working on this. So in 1,000 years, we as a human society we can develop and do amazing stuff.
Yeah, just like
than we can even imagine.
Yeah, just look at the last 200 years. Airplanes, cell phones, cars, internet, spaceships.
So they, in their own stuff, for sure develop and grow in an amazing way. Obviously, our reproduction system, our sexuality, and human sexuality, animal sexuality was the thing, because that's how we make life.
Yeah,
that's how we reproduce.
It's creation.
The huge heads are the typical and the most emblematic from the Olmecs, but there are other symbols, other statues, just like this, where the heads are divided. The corn god or maize god from the Olmec has divided head, and from the head has a corn plant growing. That mix between plants and animals and humans is what we're talking about. A couple of functional rocks, stones, very flat head. It could mean that something was on top of it, or was used to hold something on top. This one is very phallic chain, could be phallic, could be not. But it made me think again about sexuality and how important it was. Actually, I was reading a book not long ago about this indigenous group in Amazon. Beside, some of these duality symbols are maybe sometimes hide away in a way that you don't see them very well, but then you find it. Like hiding faces, sometimes they're here, sometimes like both sides, different headpieces, these hats. For sure they had a lot of hats. And if you look at here, you can see the wrinkles. So they're showing us that this is an older person. They were trying to show us, or to show them that they can trace an older person. Some of them had wrinkles here and here, which I think is very cool. And that's another ceremonial masks. Many ceremonial masks in this culture. And you can tell it's a ceremonial mask because it's a mask held by a long stick. Then it's your body side, and you can pass it.
That's so interesting.
Use of masks are also related with.
Okay.
You're able to transform yourself. They're used a lot in rituals. When people had communal rituals to drink psychedelic plants.
So perhaps used in shamanism as well.
Totally. In shamanism, use of the masks. Masks are pretty powerful figures.
The fangs are so interesting. So many of them have these fangs. That's so cool.
I love this because even though they all play the same role, they were all doing the same role, every single one are different. A little different. Could be the size, the way we had the hands. This one had it open like this, you know. This statue help us to understand it.
Okay.
Because he is holding an element that looks like a serpent. This is the tail. And it goes around and it's turned. And this is the head.
Okay.
And it's an alive serpent. It's not dead. If it was dead, it would be holding like that. It's alive. So why is it broken? Broken because every single one was found. Most of them, very small number were found by archaeologists. Most of them were found by people looking for treasures, looking for gold. This could be interpreted as a mask, another ceremonial mask. In Bolivia, there are a lot of indigenous people that practice these ceremonial dances and gatherings. They use very many figures and for covering their heads or ceremonial mask to pass each other. So that could be one of the representations. There were seats, and the seats were covered with gold. And he's holding those ceremonial knives. Those
Tumi knives?
Could be double, or could be a face and a knife. But he is teaching a study by archaeologists, trying to figure out what they say there. And they haven't been able to connect those letters to a person that came at that time. But we know this is ancient because the first person that reported this statue took pictures, and the letters weren't there. And then later, the letters were there.
So that's graffiti from
the conquest.
First Spanish.
Yes. So it's double archaeology.
Wow.
This one. Keep in mind this statue because this was in a really special place, playing an important role.
Really?
Right now he's kind of lonely. But he's important. And this guy is the first one that shows us the coca elements in his hand. He's holding the right
holding
hand
the coca
stick. And on the other hand is like a hole. It's this action that the coqueros do. And they put the line in the mouth. So this is the first one. But the sarcophagus is one of the most ancient things and help us understand a little bit of the people that inhabit this territory. The first sarcophagus they found was a wooden sarcophagus. So it was tested with C14 and it gave us 3,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
So they were using sarcophagi in 1000 BC.
exactly.
That's quite interesting.
One in the feather sword. This is a version of the feather sword.
Yeah.
There are two of them.
Really?
Shows, and they has a second figure on top that is not exactly human, but is holding up there. He's up there with their hands like this, like controlling, manipulating, in charge of this human life, right? And the figure in the middle, very maternal, carrying a baby. The original position, that figure in the middle was way in the back.
Oh, okay.
And you could barely see.
Yeah, but the ones on the sides did support the
ones
stone.
on the side were supporting the stone,
Wow.
but they were looking at each other.
Oh, really? Oh, they were facing each other.
Maybe this is something else. Maybe we're talking about a mask here or some of this other more common language than women. Shaman, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the
shaman
sash around his arm. If you like my work and want to support me, don't forget to grab a copy of my book, The Mystery of the Naval Idols. The link is below. And in this book, I track an artistic, perhaps symbolic, perhaps religious motif that pops up in ancient cultures around the world. I've documented it in over 20 countries. So grab a copy of my book today and continue unraveling the thread of how connected the ancient world truly was.